Nearly 60 years ago, in 1954, here in Ybor City, Molly Ferrara was elected alcaldesa of Ybor City. She was the only woman to hold this distinction, and she served this community well. She was a dynamic lady and truly ahead of her time. I wish I had known her, however, she was alcaldesa before I was born. Speaking as chairperson of the Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council, we are honored to approve the marker. Many thanks go to Ron Angelori and his family members for bringing the request to the council. We did not want to miss the occasion to recognize Molly Ferrara and her many achievements. It is also nice to get to know Molly Ferrara through reading many news articles and hearing her nephew speak about her in such a wonderful way. What an inspiration she is and was. She has set an example for all of us and has shown us the gift of philanthropy and service to mankind. It is thus on this near her 60th anniversary as alcaldesa of Ybor City that we gather to remember Molly Ferrara and the indelible mark she has left on our history. Our thanks go out to all of you for joining us today. I would like to ask Vince Pardo, the Ybor Development Manager, to bring you the occasion.
Please hold your applause to the last speaker, at least after the mayor. Welcome. I grew up in Ybor City, and anybody that did knew Molly Ferrara. And if you're not sure why you had to know Molly Ferrara, you'll hear that today, which we hear from our speakers. Can you hear me in the back? And I'm asking each one of our speakers, if you would, please, to speak up a little more. I'm not related to Molly, but by marriage, I'm related to Ronnie, okay, on Molly's mother's side. So Molly was like family. I knew her well, knew her from the record store. It's where I got all my 45s when I was a kid. But Ronnie called me sometime last year sometime and said that he was a little saddened that Molly was never, there's no reference to Molly Ferrara in Ybor City. And as much as she was not only to Ybor City, but also to the city of Tampa. Right here, and I'm sorry we're on it, but this is the best location, there's about 13 of these pavers that Ronnie paid for, and each one is one of the accomplishments, one of the awards that Molly had. And we'll see a little bit later when we start to move these. But that was Ronnie's first step. He said, I want to do more. And he developed a booklet, literally a booklet, of newspaper articles, Molly in Latin America, and went to the commission, and I sat there, and they unanimously, without any blink of an eye, approved this marker today. That's why we're here today. And Ronnie, thank you for taking that bull by the horn. I'm sure the family's here. You represent the family well in doing that. So we have a little noise there. I'm going to call up Mayor Bob Buckhorn, who's sitting in the shade over here on the side for a little bit. And just remind all of our speakers, it's very warm, especially EJ Salcinas. Try to be brief. I know it's hard, EJ, but we know you can do it. Mayor?
To the family, congratulations. You know, one of the things that makes Ybor City unique is the families that came here, oftentimes with nothing but the clothes on their back, freeing an ideology, looking to establish a better life in America. And they made and created the foundation upon which I now stand as mayor. And what this community has evolved into and what we have become is largely because of the contributions of many of the families that are here today. And to be able to tell that story, as EJ does so well, and to now be able to embed that into literally the concrete of this community, and to recognize the contributions of Molly. And as the father of two little girls, I understand very clearly what those kinds of role models mean to young daughters. At a time when women were left behind, women weren't allowed to participate, women were encouraged to grow and to mature and to own businesses, Molly set the standard. And so for my two little girls, the Mollies of the world are the role models for their lives. And so we as Tampanians are grateful to her, grateful to all of you for recognizing her, and we stand here the beneficiary of all of her work. Thank you for giving us Molly.
You want to do some of it? Okay, very good. Next we have Mary Mulhern, City Council District 2. Mary, you come up.
Thank you, Ron. I want to say congratulations to all of the family, the Angeloris and the Ferraris and all the other Ferraras, family members who are here to celebrate this wonderful woman who is incredible role model for someone like me, a woman in Tampa in public service. And I found out about Molly. She was mayor, alcaldesa of Ybor City before I was born too. Not much before, but a little bit before. And I was living up north. But Ron contacted me and told me about this project and how he was working with the committee with Shirley Fox Knowles and the Hillsborough County Historic Committee to create this memory of his aunt. And he emailed me and he sent me her name. And I was really excited when I saw that her name was Molly Ferrara. So I emailed him back right away. I said, Molly, was she half Irish? And he told me no. So unfortunately, she wasn't the Irish Italian, which I am, but I do share the Italian heritage and appreciate that. When the traffic slows down a little bit, I just want to read a few of her accomplishments and to say that this was happening, in the 50s and the 60s, what she was doing. First elected alcaldesa of Ybor City, woman, and only one I've heard. A successful business owner for 40 years of Columbia Music and Appliances. Many awards. I won't read all of her awards, but she was the founder of the Ybor City Girls Club, Woman of the Year Awards, Elk Club's Brotherhood Award for Service, and the Sir Thomas Service to Mankind Awards. It just goes on and on and on. So I'm just so proud that we had women here in Tampa and in Ybor City laying the groundwork, and I'm just so happy that Ron and the family and the other Yborites are giving her their due and are remembering her. And what an honor that we should all have children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, sons and daughters that would remember us so well after we're gone. So thank you for asking me to speak.
Thank you. I would like to take a break real quick and ask the Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council members to raise your hands. Thank you. We have several members here. Appreciate it very, very much. We would now like to ask E.J. Salcenis to come up and give us a brief history.
Good afternoon on this beautiful hot summer day. Molly Ferrara was the alcaldesa of Ybor City. No better picture is in our mind than the one that's being shared with you. Look at Molly's smile. That was her trademark. Molly would walk up and down these sidewalks. As a little boy, I would go to Columbia Music and Appliance exactly a block and a half from here. She had a beautiful store which had been the old Las Novedades restaurant, full of beautiful Spanish tile, and there was Molly greeting you with a smile. She became Tony Pizzo's best supporter. Wherever you saw Tony, you saw Molly Ferrara, interested in building Ybor City, developing the strategies that were necessary to preserve the great history that the mayor has talked about. So when I think of Molly Ferrara, I say the incomparable Molly Ferrara, the unforgettable Molly Ferrara. She's been dead a number of years. When I walk these streets, I'm expecting to see that smile of Molly Ferrara. So it is important that we document the life and dedication to this beautiful area of our city to Molly Ferrara, so that when people are driving by, they look up and they're even going to see a smile from that historical marker, Molly saying, "Welcome to Ybor City."
And now we will have the infamous Tony Peroni, Zapponi to come up, famous, to come and provide some remarks.
Thank you very much. I never thought I would say this, but there are a few things I can add to what E.J. Salsina said. Anyway, I want you to know that it's a privilege to talk about Molly Ferrara. Now, I always used to call her Mrs. Ferrara because I met her when I was 14, but I'm going to call her Molly today. I met her when I was 14. The Tribune sent me to take some pictures of a meeting. I was a freelancer for the Tribune, and they sent me to take some pictures of a meeting of the Ybor City Chamber of Commerce that was held in a little room on the edge of the Belk Lindsay building. And I walked in there, and she was very animated and making a point. This was during the urban renewal period when they were tearing up all the old homes in Ybor City and taking them all out of there and making flat land out of it. And she was on a very animated position, and I knew that meetings are hard to photograph. So when you get somebody doing this, that's the way to go. And she was doing this, I took the picture. Well, the next day it appeared in the paper, and apparently she got a lot of ribbing out of it, and she called the paper to complain. And she said, you didn't have any photographers there. There was only this little kid shooting pictures. And the editor said, that little kid was our photographer. And she said, who is he? Tony Zapponi. Okay. She called my house. And she started getting, she was a little upset. And anyway, she invited me. She said she wanted to see me at her store in Ybor City. I called the Tribune and I said, this lady just called and told me, I didn't know whether she wanted to beat me up or what, but the Tribune said, you got to learn to be a man and face the music, and you go and see what she's got to say. So I went a couple of days later, and that started a lifelong friendship with one of the sweetest, most wonderful ladies that ever lived. She still didn't like the picture, but once I explained to her that she saved the day, because otherwise the meeting would have been boring had it not been for her pounding. She understood, and I got to tell you what EJ said. She smiled for the whole city of Tampa and Ybor City. Her smile was absolutely the biggest and the best. We had a thing going. Anytime I came to anywhere near Ybor City, I would go and visit her. She always picked up my spirit. She was always very positive, just a wonderful lady. And we have this thing going, because I had a lot of friends that all of you know that were right within a few blocks of here. Roland Mantega had his office up on 15th, and I'd drop in to see him and annoy him a little while. And then Dick Greco's dad had his hardware store, and he couldn't be annoyed. He didn't care. And then on down the street, P.M. Gonzalez leaf cigar tobacco place, Jerome Sierra, and he was also at the Ritz Theater. How many of you know Jerome? Knew Jerome? Oh, then I don't need to say any more than that. And then there was around the corner Armando Valdez, and then down the street there was Cesar Godsmart. And at a young age, these people were my very close and special friends. But right there at the very top was Molly Ferrara. Some of you may have read the paper this morning, and it was a true story. I had bought a house in Lago Vista in 1978 and needed a refrigerator. And I suppose I could gone to Sears or to somewhere, and I decided to go ahead and patronize Molly because she was my favorite. I bought a refrigerator, went outside, and some guy walked up to me and asked me if I wanted to buy a Bulova watch for $10. And I don't normally wear a watch. I just found this one after 12 years. But I said, cool, it looked really nice, so I bought it. Got home, took it out, looked at it, and it said Bolivia on it. I called Molly. I said, Molly, I appreciate the good deal, but you need to keep those guys out from in front of your store. I paid $10 for a watch, and a Bulova watch. It turned out to be a Bolivia. And she said, Tony, don't worry about it. How much did you pay for it? I said, $10. She said, I'll give you $10 more off your refrigerator. She was that kind of lady. No matter what was going on, I know that there was nobody in Ybor City that loved this area more than her. She was very passionate about it. Just like the day I met her, she was making points about some issues here in Ybor City. From the day I met her until the last time I saw her, every time she would talk about Ybor City. I'm just very sorry that she couldn't have been around to see it develop and grow and prosper and some of the new buildings and things. She would have been very, very happy. Maybe the most important thing she taught me in my entire friendship with her was to always wear sunscreen. And today I understand what she meant. God bless Molly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now, the grandson of Molly Ferrara, Sam Ferrara III, will come up and provide some remarks.
Just see if I can try to get through this without crying. That's my main thing. But I would like to thank Mayor Buckhorn from our family for showing up. It was very good for us. And Councilwoman Moore, thank you very much. Barry Cohen, I love the comments. You know that my dad, he was talking about my dad, the only person he was ever scared of in his whole life was my grandmother. And she was about that tall. And he was a big man my size almost, and he was scared to death of her. Matter of fact, you know, all the superlatives that we're talking about my grandmother and how nice she was, it's fitting for her. But there was that tough side to her, that she was one of the toughest people I ever met. And I remember when I was a kid, me and my brother Anthony would be over there misbehaving, of course, in her store. And she would go, you know, giving us, you know, H-E-double-L and biting her fish, you know, the Italian way, and cussing. And I didn't know it was cuss words. The only one was telling my dad, I was thinking of that, and he's like, hey, wait, you can't be saying that, you know, because it was cussing, because she would cuss us out because we were misbehaving. But, you know, E.J. Sasinas, thank you very much for your comments. Vince Pardo, I can't thank you enough for everything you've done. And surely with your group, the Hillsborough County Advisory Council, we surely appreciate everything you've done for our family. The number one is Ronnie, my cousin Ronnie. He made this happen. You know, when he did this, I read all the stuff, you know, about my grandmother. And it's a lot of stuff, but I just knew her as my grandmother. She was special. And, you know, when he did this, I said, wow, man, all the stuff that she did, it's unbelievable. You know, and we just thought of her as, you know, my nana, you know, she was a regular person. And I'll never forget when she got sick. I came back from Louisiana. I was helping coach baseball up there, and I took over her store for a little while. And people would come in and give me like $5, $10. You know, that's all they can afford. But they had all the good stuff, and she made sure it happened. And they would come in there every week. Here's $5. Here's $5. And, you know, when I looked at her finances, she was doing this with her own money. She was doing this with her own money because she loved Ybor City and she loved the people that was in it. And now that she's being remembered, it's a fitting thing. She was a great person. I am proud, and my family's proud to be called her grandson, and thank you very much.
And now Ron Angelori, nephew of Molly Ferrara, will come and provide comments.
I'm really overwhelmed. I assume this doesn't work, right? Huh? When we started this project, I had no idea that we would get the kind of turnout that we did today. I'm overwhelmed, that's the only word I can say, and I'm honored. I'm honored that all of you would come here today and celebrate this dedication to Molly Ferrara. And I'm especially honored, and I think this is an especially important thing that's happening here today because it's been a long time coming, and she really deserves it. So, I have to start by thanking Shirley Fox Knowles. Her leadership in the let me see if I can get this right, Hillsborough County Advisory Committee was incredible, and it was her energy and leadership that got us here today, or it would never happen. And Shirley said to me, I don't know how many times, I wish I knew her. You know, Shirley, this may be out of a movie, but I think you and she would have been good friends. And I want to thank Liz Dunham. Is Liz here? Where's Liz? Hey, Liz, we never really met, but Liz was persistent, if I can use that word, in getting this sign done. You know, should we put the picture, not put the picture? We got too many words, we don't have enough words. And I kept bugging her, we're gonna get it done on time, is it gonna be here? We scheduled this, you know, and Liz saw it through. So thank you, Liz. And Dr. Rodriguez, she's not here either, right? Okay. And thank Dr. Rodriguez for actually doing some of the research and crafting the words that you're gonna see on the sign today. And to the entire committee who voted unanimously. We had, what, a half an hour. They voted unanimously to approve this sign. And especially Ricardo Cox. Is Ricardo here? Ricardo just, we talked on the phone several times. I said, you know, how do you do this? You know, what do I have to do to get through this committee? And he led me through what turned out to be a great process. And Vince Pardo, my cousin. I found everybody's related to Vince Pardo. Everybody. Huh? In fact, I bet you of all the people here, everybody's related to you, Vince. And for your leadership in Ybor City and your management of the Ybor City Committee, absolutely, thank you. And to all the speakers that have said these wonderful words about Aunt Molly Ferrara, it's touching. The great poet and writer and author Oscar Wilde said that, you know, the worst thing that can happen to you, if the worst thing that happened to you is that everybody talked about you, the worst thing that could happen is if no one talked about you. And of course, we're talking about Molly. So the first words you're going to see on this sign say Molly Ferrara ni Angelori, daughter of Sicilian immigrants. And Bob, you touched on some of the points of the immigrants, and it, you know, the whole idea of all these immigrants coming over in the turn of the 19th century, the Italians, the Sicilians, the Spanish, the Cubans, and many, many people, and they came to America, proud people, industrious people, and they landed here in Ybor City and worked in these cigar factories because that's where the work was for them. They lived in and around the place that we stand now, the homes on all these streets. They worked in these places of business. They socialized in these clubs. Their names are imprinted on these pavers throughout, thank you, throughout the city. Names like Pardo, Demi, Spoto, Zumo, Guastella, Fonti, Compisi, Cacciatore, Parino, etc. Those names are all over this city. And, you know, it's my opinion that it's their spirit that is imbued in these buildings, in these homes, in these walls, in this street. Their spirit that I believe has set in motion the culture and the future of not only Ybor City, but that of Tampa as well. And I've got to believe that it was that spirit that drove Molly Ferrara to do the kinds of things that she did and to make the kinds of things that she accomplished happen. I think it was that spirit. And you know, the committee didn't know Molly Ferrara. She wasn't awarded this place in history because of who she was. She was awarded this because of what she did for this community. So, my challenge to the city and to Ybor City is that a statue be created and placed directly in front of the Nick Nucio statue and facing the statue. And I see her sitting on a bench, and imprinted in the bench is Nick C. Nucio, County Commissioner, and it's kind of peeking out from under her skirt. And she's in the process of rising, and she's pointing to Nick, and she's got that Molly Ferrara smile, and she says, "Nick, move over, you're in my spot." That was Molly Ferrara. Thank you.
We would like to present this plaque to you from Molly. And if you don't mind, instead of me reading the words, can you read the words?
I'm happy to do it, but why don't we get a family member maybe?
Okay.
Sam, where's Sam? Or Michael, you want to read this?
Molly Ferrara, née Angelori, daughter of Sicilian immigrants, was a native of Ybor City. In 1954, she was elected alcaldesa of Ybor City, the only woman to hold this distinction. One of Tampa's few successful businesswomen during her time, she founded in 1937 Columbia Music and Appliances, a business that she operated for over 40 years. Molly was honored with many awards and served on numerous committees promoting Ybor City locally, statewide, and internationally. Her accomplishments included founder of the Ybor City Girls Club, Woman of the Year, Elks Club Brotherhood Award for Service, and the Sertoma Service to Mankind Award. She served on many boards such as Hillsborough County Heart Association, Pan American Commission, Salvation Army, and International Trade Committee. She was founding president of the Pilots Club and chairwoman of the International Relations of Business and Professional Women's Club of Tampa. She was also Tampa's first woman tax collector. An outstanding leader, Molly Ferrara was admired and loved for service and dedication to the community. Erected 2013, Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council, the Angelori, Ferrara, and West families. All right, thank you.
Thank you. You know, well-known author Doris Weatherford wrote in her book, Real Women of Tampa and Hillsborough County, that Molly Angelori Ferrara may have been the most outstanding Latin woman of her era. She went on to say that non-Tampans had such a high opinion of her that Molly Ferrara was the only Latin woman in a massive biographical dictionary of important Floridians who was included in her own right, independently of a husband. Weatherford noted that as alcaldesa, she made public relations visits to Cuba and other Latin American countries, setting the standard for future alcaldes. What an ambassador. Let's unveil the sign.